The White House has flipped their stance on stimulus and they're singing a new tune, and it goes something like this. As you can see, they're talking about getting this spending bill done. They're ramping up, they're saying they want to get this pushed through. Take a look at this. Peter Buttigieg deflects criticism of Joe Manchin as the White House tried to revive their economic agenda. And he says there's 99 other senators too, so don't talk about Joe Manchin, don't blame it on him, or working together to try get this done. We're hearing progressives are pressuring Joe Manchin right now to get done with executive orders and executive actions and force things to get through because they're saying, hey, our vote, our seat, our position is on the line. And if you want to have help in the next 2 years, you've got to get stuff done. We're also hearing that today more inflation data is being released, and it's not the best news. Inflation is over 8%. And they're saying the signs that we're seeing with inflation, unemployment, everything taking place in the economy, we're hearing a recession is on the way. And we're going to be seeing the White House response to this. And they're saying they're getting things ready to ramp up to help assist people at this time. But with that being said, guys, let's go ahead and dive right in and get you caught up on the latest. Alright, so first off, we're going to be taking a look at the White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki on Fox News this weekend, and she's going to be discussing the state of the economy and some of the things they're thinking about doing here. As we saw, they extended out the pause on repayment of student loans, which they're going to be mentioning. We had heard back in December that they wanted to get that back on track and have people pay their student loan debts. Also, they're going to be talking about how it looks like we have a recession right around the corner. We're going to be seeing how they respond to that as well. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki, as they said that the economy is doing well, it's improving. However, we do acknowledge the fact that the costs are too high for Americans, and that's why they're extending out the student loan payments, forgiveness, the pause, so that way people can kind of deal with the high prices. And we've heard that they're considering gas stimulus checks and the assortment of different things to try to help people out this time. Now I'll keep you up to date on that. But we're also hearing they're trying to get done with that 2021 stimulus reconciliation bill, formerly known as the Build Back Better. Now, it had fallen apart last year, as you will recall, as Joe Manchin was one of the senators that was holding out. He was having issues with more debt and more spending. He was concerned about inflation. And then when the White House called them out, he got very upset, and now they're saying do not talk about Manchin. We are trying to get this done, so please don't upset him. As take a look at this headline, link in the description below. The new White House rule is do not talk about Joe Manchin. Now, the article says that the fate of President Joe Biden's domestic agenda may hinge on his administration's ability to do simply one thing, and that is shut up, don't talk about Joe Manchin. 4 months after Biden's Build Back Better plan had collapsed amid a bit of back and forth with Senator Joe Manchin, the White House is taking a final shot at resuscitating its social spending bill, and this time is vowing a sharply different approach to the negotiations. And worrying that this is the last push because they've got to get it done now, because if they don't get it done now, it's very, very likely it will not happen before midterm elections, which could spell utter disaster for the Democratic Party. And it's likely, as I mentioned to you here on the channel, we're hearing a red wave Republican takeover of Congress would happen. And I shared with you in a previous video that Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, who became Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, said they will hold Biden to a moderate stance as he ran for president. Now, reading on it says top-beating officials are keeping their ambition vague. They're steering clear of firm deadlines, and most importantly, they're trying as hard as possible to just not talk about it at all. And that's why there's been so little details unveiled right now, because they're trying to get things reeled up, not trying to stir the pot, just trying to get it done. And when it's all done, they'll all probably release all the information and the details. And he said, I would quite simply not comment on the conversations that are happening, said Brian Dees, economic consultant in the White House. I don't think that has served anyone particularly well. The administration-wide gag order is imposed over the last several weeks is a marked shift from their earlier efforts to hide Biden's expansive policy vision, and the tactic acknowledge that the White House has learned its lesson. The administration and its allies spent months last year trying to pressure Joe Manchin into supporting the $1.7 trillion climate and social spending package, only to see the negotiation blow up in December. Now, Manchin is signaling that he's willing to do a deal again, and Democrats are all been begging him to write the legislation himself, pretty much saying this is going to be the Manchin's bill, just we've got to get him on board. And this is because of the way that the Senate is currently structured. 50 Democrats, 50 Republicans. So through the process of reconciliation, which is a majority vote in a 50-50 Senate, if Democrats want to get this through, they literally got to get every single senator on board. They almost are in a position of more power than the president himself, and just one opposing it could stop the legislation from going through. And right now that senator is Joe Manchin. Now reading on this says this is really up to Joe, one person familiar with the party's dynamic set of the senior Democrats' attitude. It's basically going to be the Manchin reconciliation bill when it's all said and done. So you guys, let me know your thoughts. Looks like they're making progress, and Joe Manchin is going to be having his way on this Build Back Better bill. It's gonna be probably the Manchin bill. What have we named it? The Manchin bill, reconciliation stimulus bill? Let me know your thoughts. Now also though, I wanted to share with you this quote from P.D. Buddha. Check that, I think pretty much sums it up and says, if somebody is holding out on you, going up to them and then poking them in the eyes, probably not going to help you get the results that you want, he said on Friday. So pretty much summing it all up, in my opinion, was they wanted to get Joe Manchin on board. But then they were talking bad about him. They were getting protesters to go and pressure him, and it didn't work and backfired. So now they're saying if we want to get him on board, they got to be nice to him. So that is the new strategy now. And I will keep you up to date on that, you guys. That is going to be the 2021 reconciliation bill. They also have a 2022 reconciliation bill at their disposal to see what they can get done with. And we're hearing that, as I mentioned, progressives are saying, Joe Biden, please pass executive orders and executive actions. Just get stuff done. We need this in order to keep our power in Congress as we're approaching those midterm elections. Now, in addition to that, as I briefly mentioned, we will see if other pieces of legislation, other stimulus supports come out, if they're able to reallocate existing funds and not add to debt for things like, say, stimulus checks, canceling student loan debt, maybe more child tax credits. There's a lot of provisions that we're hearing that people would like to see things are coming back to the table as we're approaching those midterm elections.